They say marriages end in silence. Mine ended with a group text and a Pilates playlist. I'm Dave Cole, 41 years old, civil engineer by trade, fool by marriage. I build bridges for a living, ironic, considering how spectacularly I failed to maintain the one in my own home. My wife Vanessa always said I was too literal, too practical. Turns out she preferred her men more like Rocky Road ice cream. Complex, sweet on top, nuts underneath. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I should have seen it coming when she started wearing makeup to grocery runs and buying lingerie I never saw, but hey, I was busy calculating load-bearing capacities for the new downtown overpass. Apparently, I should have been calculating the load-bearing capacity of my best friend's conscience instead. The morning everything changed started like any other Tuesday in our Cleveland suburb. Brick bungalows lined Maple Street like dominoes, each one hiding its own secrets behind manicured lawns and matching shutters. Mrs. Geller was already stationed at her front window with coffee and binoculars, our neighborhood's self-appointed surveillance system. Mr. Klein, the retired cop next door, was washing his car for the third time this week, which meant he was either bored or avoiding his wife's honey-do list. "Dave, we need to talk," Vanessa announced, clicking into the kitchen on heels that cost more than my monthly car payment. At 8 in the morning, on a Tuesday, red flag number 1. She looked polished, professional, like she was heading to close $1 million deal instead of destroy a 17-year marriage. Her PR manager persona was in full effect, the one that could spin a sewage leak into a natural water feature opportunity. "Sure," I said, not looking up from my engineering reports. "Did you remember to call the plumber about the guest bathroom sink?" "Forget the sink." She sat across from me, folding her manicured hands. "I'm pregnant." My coffee mug stopped halfway to my lips. We hadn't been intimate in 6 months. Either this was the second coming, or my wife had some explaining to do. "Congratulations," I said carefully. "Should I be excited?" Her laugh was brittle, like ice cracking. "It's not yours, Dave." The words hung in the air like smoke from a house fire. I set down my mug with the precision of a man defusing a bomb. "I see. It's Bryce's." Bryce Hamilton, my oldest friend, my workout partner, the guy who'd been my best man, who'd helped me move into this house, who'd spent every Sunday for 2 years watching football on my couch and eating my nachos. "Well," I said, surprised by how calm my voice sounded, "that's certainly efficient. Keeping it in the friend group." Vanessa's perfectly contoured face showed the first crack of uncertainty. She'd probably rehearsed this conversation in her car, maybe even practiced in the mirror, but she hadn't expected sarcasm. "I'm leaving you," she continued, her PR training kicking back in. "Bryce and I, we're in love. We have been for months." "Months?" I nodded thoughtfully. "How many months exactly?" "Because I'm trying to remember when you started going to those late-night Pilates classes with Tasha and Priya." Her cheeks flushed pink beneath her foundation. "Does it matter?" "I'm an engineer, Vanessa. Details matter, timelines matter, load calculations matter." I stood up, straightening my tie. "For instance, I'm calculating how much weight our joint bank account can bear when you're paying for 2 households. Bryce makes good money with the gym. Bryce's gym has been hemorrhaging members since Planet Fitness opened across town. But hey, love conquers quarterly earnings, right?" She stood too, her heels clicking against our hardwood floors. The same floors we'd refinished together 3 summers ago, back when we meant something. "I want you to be happy for us," she said, and I almost laughed. "Happy?" I repeated. "Vanessa, my wife just told me she's pregnant with my best friend's baby and leaving me for him. I'm not sure Hallmark makes a card for this occasion." "You don't have to be cruel." "Cruel?" Now I did laugh, short and sharp. "Honey, I haven't even started being cruel yet." Something in my tone made her step back. Good. She should be nervous. "I'll pack my things this weekend," she said. "Bryce is getting an apartment downtown." "How modern. How progressive." I picked up my coffee mug and headed for the sink. "I assume you'll want to tell Alex together? You know, put on a united front for our 16-year-old son before you blow up his world?" The mention of Alex made her flinch. Our boy was sharp, loyal, and had inherited my bullshit detector along with Vanessa's green eyes. This wasn't going to go well for her. "We'll figure it out," she said weakly. "We." I rinsed my mug with methodical precision. "There is no we anymore, Vanessa. There's you, there's your baby daddy, and there's me. 3 separate entities. I suggest you start thinking accordingly." She left without another word, her heels echoing through the house like a countdown timer. I heard her car start, listened to it disappear down Maple Street, and then I stood in my kitchen, our kitchen, and felt something cold and calculating settle into my chest. 17 years of marriage, 23 years of friendship with Bryce, all destroyed with a group text and a Pilates playlist. But here's the thing about being an engineer. We don't just build things. We also know exactly how to take them apart. I pulled out my phone and scrolled to my work buddy Ray's number. Ray Martinez was my office's unofficial philosopher, a guy who could find wisdom in a ham sandwich and had opinions about everything from quantum physics to reality TV. "Ray," I said when he answered, "remember that conversation we had about revenge fantasies?" "Oh shit," Ray said. "What did she do?" "She's pregnant with Bryce's baby and leaving me." Silence. Then, "Bryce? You're Bryce? Gym owner? Protein shake for brains Bryce?" "That's the one." "Jesus, Dave, I'm sorry, man. That's brutal." "Yeah, well." I looked around my kitchen, at the family photos on the refrigerator, at the coffee maker Vanessa bought me for my last birthday. "I'm thinking it's time to stop fantasizing. What do you need?" "Meet me for lunch. Bring your thinking cap. We're going to discuss structural engineering." "Structural engineering?" I smiled for the first time all morning. "How to bring down a house of cards, Ray. How to bring down a house of cards." Ray met me at Murphy's Diner, our usual spot for solving the world's problems over mediocre coffee and excellent pie. He slid into the booth across from me, his dark eyes already calculating. Ray had the kind of mind that could see around corners, which made him invaluable for complex engineering projects and apparently complex revenge plots. "Okay," he said without preamble, "before we start planning anything nuclear, tell me exactly what happened." I laid out the morning's conversation, watching Ray's expression shift from sympathy to disgust to something that looked suspiciously like professional interest. "So, Vanessa and Bryce have been carrying on for months," he summarized. "She's pregnant, they're moving in together, and they probably think you're just going to give up. That's the assessment." Ray stirred his coffee thoughtfully. "What's your timeline?" "She's packing this weekend. Bryce is getting an apartment downtown, probably that new complex on 5th Street, the one with the overpriced gym memberships and underbuilt foundations." "You want to hurt them financially?" "I want to hurt them systematically." I pulled out a napkin and started sketching. See, everyone thinks engineers are boring, predictable. We calculate loads and stress points and safety margins, and people assume that's all we do. But the thing about understanding how things are built is that you also understand how they fall down. Ray leaned forward, studying my rough diagram. "What am I looking at?" "Vanessa's life structure. Her job in PR depends on reputation and social connections. Bryce's gym depends on community trust and word-of-mouth marketing. Their relationship depends on secrecy and the illusion that they're the victims of a loveless marriage." I drew lines connecting different elements. Remove the right support beams, and the whole thing collapses. And you want to be the one swinging the wrecking ball. I want to be the engineer who calculated exactly where to place the charges for maximum structural damage. Ray was quiet for a long moment, then he grinned. "You magnificent bastard. What do you need?" "Information, surveillance. And your cousin Miguel? Doesn't he work in theater?" "Community theater, yeah. Why?" "I'm going to need some actresses." Over the next hour, we mapped out what Ray started calling Operation House of Cards. Phase 1 would be intelligence gathering, documenting Vanessa and Bryce's movements, their public appearances, their social media presence. Phase 2 would be strategic strikes against their reputations. Phase 3? Well, Phase 3 would depend on how they responded to Phase 2. "This is either brilliant or completely insane," Ray said as we finished our coffee. "Why not both?" I drove home to find Alex waiting in the kitchen, his lanky frame folded into one of the bar stools. At 16, he had his mother's sharp features, but my steady gaze. He was also holding his phone like it contained nuclear launch codes. "Dad," he said carefully, "Mom sent me a text." I felt my jaw tighten. "What kind of text?" "The kind that says she's moving out this weekend and wants to have a family meeting tonight to discuss new arrangements." He made air quotes with obvious distaste. "She also said I shouldn't be upset because sometimes adults need to make difficult choices for their happiness." "And what do you think about that?" Alex was quiet for a moment, staring at his phone screen. "I think Mom's been acting weird for months, and now I know why. I also think she's treating me like I'm 8 instead of 16. "You're not wrong. Is it true? About her and Mr. Hamilton?" The question hung between us like a bridge with a crack in it. I could lie, try to protect him from the ugly details. But Alex was smart. observant, and he deserved better than patronizing bullshit. Yes, I said. It's true. He nodded slowly, processing. That sucks. Yeah, it really does. What are you going to do? I looked at my son, tall, thoughtful, caught in the middle of a war he didn't start. I'm going to make sure you're okay. Everything else is secondary. But you're going to do something, right? You're not just going to let them, I don't know, ride off into the sunset? I smiled, and Alex smiled back. He definitely had my bullshit detector. Oh, I'm going to do something, I said. But first, we need to get through tonight's family meeting. You ready for some quality theater? With Mom? Always. Vanessa arrived at 7 sharp, accompanied by Bryce. Seeing him in my living room, on my furniture, felt like watching someone piss on my lawn while maintaining eye contact. He had the decency to look uncomfortable, but not the decency to, not sleep with my wife. Alex, Vanessa said, settling onto the couch with practiced grace. Your father and I wanted to talk to you about some changes that are happening. Changes, Alex repeated flatly. Bryce cleared his throat. This is awkward for everyone, buddy, but don't call me buddy. Alex's voice was ice cold. You don't get to call me buddy. Good boy. Vanessa shot Bryce a warning look and took over. What Bryce means is that sometimes relationships change, and adults need to make new choices. Mom, Alex held up a hand. I'm 16, not 6. Dad already told me you're pregnant with Mr. Hamilton's baby and you're leaving. You don't need to spin it. The silence that followed was beautiful. Vanessa's PR training had prepared her for hostile media, difficult clients, and corporate crises. It had not prepared her for her teenage son cutting through her bullshit like a laser through tissue paper. I see, she said finally. Well, I wanted you to know that this doesn't change how much I love you or how much Bryce cares about you. How much he cares about me. Alex's voice cracked slightly. He was supposed to be Dad's best friend. He was at my birthday parties. He taught me how to throw a curveball, and now he's... What? My stepdad? Bryce shifted uncomfortably. Alex, I know this is hard. You know what's hard? Alex stood up, his height making him suddenly seem older than 16. What's hard is watching my mom lie to my dad for months. What's hard is realizing that every time you came over for dinner, you were lying to us. What's hard is figuring out how to respect a mother who doesn't respect her own family. Alex, Vanessa's composure finally cracked. That's enough. No, it's not enough. Alex's voice rose. You want to leave Dad? Fine. You want to be with Mr. Hamilton? Fine. But don't sit here and pretend this is some mature adult decision that I should be happy about. This is you blowing up our family because you wanted something different. He turned to me. Dad, I'm staying with you. Full time. I don't want to do weekends or custody schedules or any of that crap. I'm staying here. Vanessa's face went white. Alex, you can't just... Actually, he can, I said quietly. He's old enough to choose where he wants to live, and it sounds like he's made his choice. Alex nodded firmly. I have. Bryce finally found his voice. Look, everyone's emotional right now. Maybe you should leave, Alex said. Both of you. This is still Dad's house, and you're not welcome here anymore. Vanessa looked like she'd been slapped. She opened her mouth to argue, then seemed to realize she had no ground to stand on. She gathered her purse with shaking hands. We'll talk about this later, she said to Alex, when you've had time to process. There's nothing to process, Mom. You made your choice. I'm making mine. After they left, Alex and I sat in the living room, the silence stretching between us like a bridge under construction. You okay? I asked. No, he said honestly, but I will be. Me too, kiddo. Me too. That night, after Alex went to bed, I sat in my home office and opened my laptop. Time for Phase 1 of Operation House of Cards. I started with social media, Vanessa's Instagram, Bryce's Facebook, their mutual friends' accounts. I created anonymous profiles, started following local community groups, and began mapping their social network. By midnight, I had a comprehensive picture of their digital lives, their routines, and most importantly, their vulnerabilities. Vanessa posted constantly about her girls' nights, with Tasha and Priya, her yoga classes, her work events. Every post was carefully curated to show a successful, sophisticated woman living her best life. She had 847 followers, mostly local professionals and neighborhood moms. Bryce's social media was all gym selfies, motivational quotes, and pictures of protein shakes. He tagged his location constantly: the gym, restaurants, his apartment complex. He had 1,200 followers, mostly gym members and local fitness enthusiasts. What they both had was reputation, status, community standing. What they were about to learn was how quickly those things could disappear when the foundation started to crack. I opened a new document and began typing. Structural analysis. Vanessa Cole and Bryce Hamilton. Load-bearing elements. Professional reputation, social connections, community trust. Stress points. Public perception. Financial stability. Relationship dynamics. Recommended demolition strategy. Systematic removal of support structures. Timeline. 30 days maximum expected outcome. Complete structural collapse. I saved the file and closed the laptop. Tomorrow the real work would begin. Ray's cousin Miguel turned out to be a godsend. Short, theatrical, and blessed with the kind of creative mind that could turn a community theater production into Broadway magic, he listened to my proposal with the intensity of a director casting Hamlet. "So, you want me to find actresses who can play scorned lovers," he said, stirring his espresso at the coffee shop where we'd met. "Women who can convincingly portray having affairs with this Bryce character." "Convincingly enough to fool his wife, Monique," I confirmed, "and maybe a few key witnesses around the neighborhood?" Miguel's eyes lit up. "Oh, this is delicious. You're not just destroying a relationship. You're directing a performance piece. How many actresses do you need?" "2 should be sufficient. Different types. 1 blonde, 1 brunette. Ages 25 to 35. They need to be good enough to sell the story, but not so good that they seem professional." "Amateur hour. Got it." Miguel pulled out his phone. "I know exactly who to call. Sarah Chen just moved here from Chicago. She's looking for work, and she's got that wholesome but available look that drives married men crazy. And Diana Torres does improv downtown. She can play sultry and dangerous in her sleep." "What's this going to cost me?" "For a performance this entertaining? Call it a favor, but you owe me tickets to opening night of whatever community theater production I'm directing next." "Deal." While Miguel arranged my supporting cast, I focused on intelligence gathering. I started taking different routes to work, routes that happened to pass by Bryce's gym. I began shopping at the grocery store where Vanessa bought her organic everything. I even started getting my hair cut at the salon where Tasha worked as a receptionist. The beauty of a small community is that everyone talks to everyone. The curse of a small community is that everyone talks to everyone. "Oh, Dave," Tasha said when I showed up for an appointment. "I'm so sorry about everything that's happening." Tasha Williams was Vanessa's closest friend, a woman who collected gossip like some people collected stamps. She was also, according to my social media research, the person who'd been covering for Vanessa's girls' nights for months. "These things happen," I said with practiced resignation. "I just want everyone to be happy." "You're being so mature about this. I mean, most men would be furious." "What's the point of being furious? Vanessa and Bryce fell in love. It's not like they planned for it to happen." Tasha's reflection in the mirror showed a flicker of something. Guilt, maybe, or surprise at my reasonable tone. "Still," she said, snipping at my hair, "it must be hard, especially with the baby coming." "The baby's not mine, Tasha. There's no point in pretending otherwise." "Right, but—" She paused, scissors suspended in midair. "I mean, are you sure? Because the timing—" "I'm sure." I met her eyes in the mirror. "Vanessa and I haven't been intimate in over 6 months. Basic biology, you know?" The color drained from Tasha's face. 6 months? Give or take. We've been having problems for a while. I thought she was just stressed about work, but apparently she was stressed about other things. Tasha finished my haircut in relative silence, but I could see the wheels turning. If Vanessa and I hadn't been together in 6 months, and she was supposedly 3 months pregnant with Bryce's baby, then the timeline worked. But if Tasha knew something different... I left the salon with a decent haircut and the satisfaction of planting the first seed of doubt. That evening, Sarah Chen called my house phone. "Mr. Cole, this is Sarah. Miguel said you needed someone for a performance project?" "That's right. Are you available to meet tomorrow? I'd like to discuss the details." "Sure, but just so I'm clear, this is acting, right? Like, pretend acting?" "Completely pretend. You'll be playing a role, nothing more, and you'll be compensated for your time." "Okay, where should we meet?" I gave her the address of a coffee shop across town, far from any place Vanessa or Bryce might frequent. "Bring a friend if it makes you feel safer. This is legitimate, but I understand if you want backup." "Thanks. I'll see you tomorrow." The next day, Sarah arrived with Diana Torres in tow. Sarah was exactly what Miguel had promised, wholesome but approachable, with shoulder-length blonde hair and the kind of smile that suggested she was everyone's favorite coworker. Diana was her opposite, dark hair, sharp features, and an intensity that probably made her excellent at improv. "So," Diana said after I'd explained the situation, "you want us to pretend we've been having affairs with your wife's boyfriend." Ex-wife, soon-to-be, and yes, that's the basic idea. And the goal is to make his actual wife think he's been cheating on her too. The goal is to demonstrate that Bryce Hamilton is the kind of man who has affairs with married women. Whether Monique draws her own conclusions is up to her. Sarah frowned. But we'd be lying to her. That seems cruel. Crueler than what her husband did to my family? Diana leaned forward. What exactly would we have to do? I pulled out a folder with photos of Bryce, pictures I'd taken during my surveillance, pictures from his social media, pictures from community events where we'd all appeared together over the years. You'd need to be seen with him in public places, coffee shops, restaurants, his gym. Nothing inappropriate, just friendly, familiar, the kind of interactions that make people wonder. And then, Sarah asked, then you'd have conversations, phone calls that other people might overhear, text messages that might accidentally be seen, conversations about how much you care about him, how difficult the situation is, how you wish things were different. Diana was nodding slowly, gaslighting his wife into thinking he's a serial cheater. I prefer to think of it as providing context for his character. This is elaborate, Sarah said, and kind of brilliant. But what if we get caught? You're not doing anything illegal. You're not even doing anything technically dishonest. You're playing roles like actresses in a play. If anyone asks directly, you tell them the truth. You're helping a friend with a project. Diana grinned. I like it. It's like guerrilla theater with a purpose. Sarah? I looked at the blonde woman, who was still studying Bryce's photos. He really destroyed your marriage. He really did. And your son chose to stay with you instead of his mother? He did. Sarah closed the folder. Okay, I'm in. But I want to understand exactly what we're doing and when we're doing it. No improvisation without approval. Fair enough. We spent the next hour planning what I started thinking of as the Bryce Hamilton adultery tour. Sarah would be the sweet, innocent type, the woman who'd fallen for Bryce's charm and didn't realize he was using her. Diana would be the sophisticated one, the woman who knew exactly what she was doing and didn't care about the consequences. Both would be seen with Bryce in public. Both would have phone conversations that could be overheard by the right people. Both would leave just enough evidence to create a pattern. When do we start? Diana asked. Tomorrow. Bryce works out at his own gym every morning at 6. Sarah, I want you there at 6:30, asking about membership rates. Be friendly, maybe a little flirty. Let him give you the full sales pitch. And then? Then you become a regular. 3 times a week, same schedule as Bryce. After a week, you start having coffee together after workouts. Innocent stuff, but visible. What about me? Diana asked. You're the evening shift? Bryce usually grabs dinner at Romano's on Thursday nights. It's his cheat meal after a week of protein shakes and kale. You'll be there, dining alone, and you'll strike up a conversation. Accidentally? Accidentally on purpose. You're new in town, you're lonely, and you're attracted to confident men who own their own businesses. Diana laughed. I can work with that. The key is patience, I continued. This isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. We want to establish patterns, create a narrative that builds over time. By the time Monique starts putting pieces together, there should be so much circumstantial evidence that she can't ignore it. And what about your ex-wife? Sarah asked. Won't she figure out what's happening? Vanessa's too busy planning her new life to pay attention to Bryce's old habits. Besides, she's convinced I'm a broken-hearted victim who's going to quietly disappear. She's not looking for a fight. But you are. I smiled. Oh, I absolutely am. We shook hands, exchanged phone numbers, and agreed to meet again in a week to assess progress. As Sarah and Diana left the coffee shop, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months. Anticipation. Phase 2 of Operation House of Cards was officially underway. That night, I called Monique Hamilton. Bryce's wife was a sweet woman, a kindergarten teacher who believed the best of everyone and probably still left cookies for Santa. She'd been nothing but kind to me over the years, which made what I was about to do feel almost unfair. Almost. Dave, she said when she answered the phone. How are you holding up? I can't believe what Bryce and Vanessa did. It's unthinkable. I'm managing, I said. Actually, that's why I called. I wanted to make sure you were okay. This can't be easy for you either. Oh, you're so thoughtful. Honestly, I'm just shocked. I never saw it coming. Bryce has been acting strange lately, but I thought it was just stress from the gym. Strange how? Oh, working late, taking phone calls in the other room, going out more often. I thought maybe he was planning some kind of surprise for our anniversary next month. My heart actually hurt for her. Monique, I hope this doesn't sound inappropriate, but have you noticed anything else? Any other changes in his behavior? What do you mean? I mean, if Bryce was willing to have an affair with Vanessa, it makes me wonder if there were other signs. Other women, maybe. Silence. Then, why would you ask that? Because I've been thinking about all the times Vanessa lied to me, and I'm realizing there were signs I missed. Patterns I should have seen. I'd hate for you to go through what I went through. You think there might be other women? I think Bryce is the kind of man who does what he wants and worries about consequences later, and I think you deserve to know the truth, whatever it is. More silence. I don't know what to think anymore. Maybe you should pay attention over the next few weeks. See if you notice anything unusual. You know Bryce better than anyone. Trust your instincts. Dave, thank you for caring enough to call. Most men in your situation would be too angry to think about anyone else. I'm plenty angry, Monique, but I'm angry at the right people. After I hung up, I sat in my kitchen and felt the familiar cold satisfaction settling in my chest. Monique would be watching Bryce now, looking for signs, paying attention to details she'd previously ignored, and starting tomorrow, there would be plenty of details to notice.